Howdy, y'all, and welcome to Man vs. AI, an experiment in which I, Joshua Nieubuurt, a featherless biped, take on AI models technologically tuned to generate human language natural text in a tail-weaving battle of expertise. Today's opponents include OpenAI's GPT-3 and ChatGPT. May the best writer win. This duel focuses on a roughly 1,000-word piece of flash fiction. Today's stories fall under the title The End of Inferno Heights. Enjoy! Soft flitters of dust danced through the air as the sun crested over the horizon. The sun's reflection glittered off of a charm hanging above the bar, the prize she'd collected the night before after an unlucky patron claiming to be a seer lost every game of faro. A high price to pay, but their soul would sustain Lilith for another few weeks. It hung among many more, trophies hanging at the boat dock to the river Styx. There was always someone willing to risk it all, and the saloon never closes. Lilith saw the Shadow Rider's dust trail rise over the hill. They were a few days early this year. They'd spread their darkness across the west, carving a living out of stolen gold and spilt blood. Then they'd return to pay back their due. Lilith had spared them their souls at the cost of their flesh, just like the other poor souls that found their way into Inferno Heights. Each had been transmogrified. Each owed Lilith a due that would take lifetimes to repay. Jet black smoke poured under the saloon's swinging doors. "Welcome back, gentlemen," Lilith cooed. "I trust you were mighty successful coming here, early and all." A metallic thump shook the bar. Without looking back, Lilith said, That doesn't sound like nearly enough." Several more bags were placed on the table. "That's better. Inferno Heights doesn't run itself, don't you know? Even the dam need to pay for supplies. Now and again, at least." Lilith turned and greeted them with a smile. "Aw, boys, did you come back because you miss me so?" The four damned souls sat motionless. "Well, here's something to put some life back into you," Lilith said. 4 bottles appeared on the table, and each drank them quickly. Their shoulders relaxed, and they settled in. "Here's enough for the next year," Colt Thunder boomed. "Another year on God's sun-baked pie, dear," Lilith said with a grin. "You all did so well."
"We were debating about bringing a few meals for you, but Dirk's appetite has been quite ravenous,"
Maverick Ryder intonated through his tentacles.
"Speak for yourself,"
Dirk Saddleback grunted.
"How many brains did you suck out of the last wagon train? 10? 20? One might take you for the Lochness Monster, not the tentacle Twilight."
"Not enough. I was going for yours, but the damn thing's so small, it isn't even fit for an hors d'oeuvre,"
Maverick shot back. With that, they all had a good laugh. Buck Trigger simply nodded in approval. Later on, 2 more of the damned entered into the saloon. Commander Tut, a former heroic villain of the Indian Wars, along with his companion, Jake Wilder.
"Well, looky here. The Shadow Riders stinking up the joint with their scales and furballs. And Buck, I still got a bone to pick with ya. About time y'all amateurs made it back. We were starting to worry that y'all become skinwalker chow,"
Commander Tut said as he swaggered to his seat. Seeing the large bags on the table, he grunted.
"I thought y'all get twice as much. Not gonna put too much of a dent in your debt, now is it?"
Colt Thunder roared.
"Roar. Calm down there, pussycat. No need to get all meowy with me. Besides, we all know what I can do with my 6-shooter. Gave you a haircut last time, didn't I?"
Commander Tut said, Colt Thunder scowled and sipped his drink as Commander Tut gloated.
All right now, children. I like the spirit, but this is no place for fighting,
Lilith cautioned. Jake Wilder yapped,
Yee-haw!
pulled out his pistol, and fired a shot into the ceiling. In a moment, Lilith shot back and retransmogrified him.
What in tarnation did you do that for?
Jake Wilder shouted.
How else you gonna pay for that hole in my ceiling, sugar?
Lilith cooed. Jack Wilder and Commander Tut spat on the floor and left. Lilith looked at the Shadow Riders.
They've been nothing but a pain in my rear since their damnation. It sure would be nice if their contracts expired a little early. Could be worth a few years of time.
The Shadow Riders stepped out into the street with the guns at their sides. Commander Tut and Jake Wilder were already waiting.
Look like it's time for the animals to return to the zoo. No offense, Jake,
Commander Tut said. For an eternity, they stood, tickling their pistols. Sweat began to bead on Maverick Ryder's tentacles as the sun reached its pinnacle over Inferno Heights. Colt Thunder fired off the first shot, blasting Jake Wilder straight into the river Styx. Commander Tut fired back, missing them all. Seeing the commotion, the entire town began firing shots in all directions. In the commotion, Maverick Ryder lost a tentacle. Buck Trigger lost a femur. Dirk was all smiles as he fired off shot after shot at nothing in particular. Colt Thunder realized bringing a rocket launcher to a gunfight was a misstep and slid back into the saloon.
Well, sugar, looks like you get a few years back. But Mr. Tut's still worth a few more. Take these 2 pistols and get back out there,
Lilith said gently. Colt Thunder stepped back out into the midday sun, guns ablazing. Far away in the ethereal realm, Azrael, the angel of death, spoke. I shall smite all. I bring forth a fiery death to those most unclean. So it shall be, Dixie. Suddenly, the sky grew dark. The shots stopped, and all peered upward.
It's the reckoning!
Dirk cried. A thick, saucy wave of heat hit first. Clothes, skin, bone, and brains melted. Next, a giant rock slammed straight into Lilith's saloon, erasing Inferno Heights forevermore. As they waited for Charon, Buck Trigger nudged Dirk Saddleback. Hey, you got a coin or 2 to spare for an old friend? Dirk looked at him.
It'll cost you about $3.50 on the other side.
Howdy, y'all. Now let's see what our good friend GPT-3 has to say about this. Now, usually we went with a really simple prompt, but let's try something a little more complex and see how it goes. So, write a 1,000-word fantasy story about the final days of an old west town called Inferno Heights, populated by damned souls. Include dialogue. Include the following characters: Lilith, Colt Thunder, Dirk Saddleback, Buck Trigger, Maverick Ryder. Also include their foes: Commander Tut, Jake Wilder. The story concludes with an apocalyptic event destroying Inferno Heights. Epilogue of Dirk Saddleback and Buck Trigger waiting for Charon at the river Styx. Include a joke about the Lochness Monster. Let's see how it does. Looks like they'll be starting in the evening rather than the morning. Well, looks like it's got a lot to say, doesn't it? Here we go. Hopefully y'all can see this here. The sun was setting over Inferno Heights, the old west town that was home to an assortment of damned souls. The townspeople were all too aware that this would be the final night they spent in this place. As the sky darkened, a moment of silence fell over the town as they prepared for what was to come. Lilith, the owner of the local saloon, sighed. "It's been a good run, but all good things must come to an end, I suppose." She looked around at the other residents of the town and shook her head. Colt Thunder, the lion cowboy, nodded. "It's been a wild ride, but it's time to move on." Dirk Saddleback, the alligator cowboy, tipped his hat.
It's been a pleasure, folks. We all be better off somewhere else.
Buck Trigger, the skeleton cowboy, raised his hands in a gesture of peace. "Let's all keep our heads and leave this place in peace." Maverick Ryder, the octopus cowboy, stood up.
We came here to escape, and now it's time to go.
At that moment, a rumble echoed through the air, and everyone turned to see a large figure in the distance. It was Commander Tut, the mummy cowboy, and he was riding with his posse of undead cowboys. "You've all been warned," he yelled. "Leave now or suffer the consequences." Everyone in Inferno Heights knew what had to be done. They quickly gathered their belongings and began to make their way out of town. Colt Thunder and Dirk Saddleback took the lead, and the rest of the townsfolk followed behind. Meanwhile, Commander Tut and his posse had made their way to the center of town. Jake Wilder, the zombie cowboy, laughed and pointed at the fleeing townfolk.
Ha! Look at those fools running away like scared rats.
Suddenly, a loud explosion shook the ground. The sky turned a deep red. Commander Tut and his posse scattered, and the townsfolk screamed, "Ah!" as the ground rumbled beneath them. The entire town of Inferno Heights was engulfed in a massive explosion, and the sky was filled with smoke and flames. When the smoke cleared, all that remained was a pile of ashes. Inferno Heights was no more. Epilogue. Dirk Saddleback and Buck Trigger stood at the banks of the river Styx and watched as Charon, the boatman, approached.
Well, I guess this is it,
muttered Dirk. "It's been one hell of a ride," said Buck, trying to make a joke. "But at least we don't have to worry about the Lochness Monster anymore." Dirk chuckled. "That's true. I suppose there are just some advantages to the afterlife." The two cowboys stepped onto the boat and watched as Charon steered them away from the remains of Inferno Heights. They were headed to a new, better place, and they were glad to be leaving this one behind. What a lovely story. Quite a different take than our embodied soul took, but quite an excellent tale, beginning, middle, and end. Decent dialogue. A nice joke about the Loch Ness Monster that actually got me to chuckle in real life. Not a bad take, GPT-3, not a bad take at all. Let's take a look here at ChatGPT. If I can spell words correctly, that'd be nice. So, here we go. Let's see what ChatGPT gets us into. There we go. Oh, we got some smoking, some cigarettes here. Quite a different take already from the start. Let's start off here. The sun was setting over Inferno Heights, casting an orange glow over the old west town. The streets were deserted, save for a few lost souls wandering aimlessly. Lilith, the saloon owner, was sitting outside her establishment, smoking a cigarette and watching the sunset. "Another day in paradise," she said to no one in particular. Suddenly, the peace was broken by the sound of hooves pounding the dirt. Colt Thunder, the lying cowboy, rode into town, his mane blowing in the wind. "Lilith, have you seen Dirk or Buck?" he asked, dismounting from his horse. "No, I haven't. Why?" Lilith replied, her voice laced with concern. "Commander Tut and Jake Wilder are leading an attack on the town. We need to gather the other cowboys and defend Inferno Heights," Colt said, his voice filled with urgency. Lilith stood up and stubbed out her cigarette. "I'll get Maverick and meet you at the town square in 5 minutes." Colt nodded and rode off, leaving Lilith to gather the other cowboys. Dirk Saddleback, the alligator cowboy, was sitting in the local jail, his feet kicked up on the desk. He was about to take a nap when Lilith came bursting in. "Shh! Dirk, we've got trouble. Commander Tut and Jake Wilder are attacking the town. We need you and Buck to defend Inferno Heights," Lilith said, her voice shaking with fear. Dirk quickly stood up and grabbed his guns. "I'll get Buck and meet you at the town square." Buck Trigger, the skeleton cowboy, was busy playing cards at the local saloon when Lilith and Dirk came to collect him. "Buck, we've got trouble. Commander Tut and Jake Wilder are attacking the town. We need your help to defend Inferno Heights," Dirk said, his voice grave. Probably graver than mine. Buck quickly stood up, grabbed his guns and hat. "Let's ride!" The 4 cowboys met at the town square, where Maverick Ryder, the octopus cowboy, was waiting for them. "We're outnumbered and outgunned. We'll fight to the death to protect Inferno Heights," Maverick said, his tentacles wriggling with determination. The cowboys rode out of town, ready to face their foes. They could see the dust clouds in the distance, signaling the approach of Commanders Tut and Jake Wilder and their army of damned souls. The cowboys fought bravely, but it was clear they were losing the battle. Just as all hope seemed lost, an apocalyptic event occurred, destroying Inferno Heights and all its inhabitants. A little vague there, but that's alright. Epilogue. Dirk Saddleback and Buck Trigger were the only ones left alive. They were standing at the river Styx, waiting for Charon to ferry them across to the afterlife. "Can you believe it? We're the only ones left," Dirk said, still in shock. "Yeah, it's like the Lochness Monster of the Old West," Buck replied with a chuckle. Charon arrived, his boat ready to take them across the river. Dirk and Buck climbed aboard, ready to leave Inferno Heights and all their troubles behind. As the boat sailed away, the 2 cowboys couldn't help but feel a sense of sadness for the town and friends they had lost. But they also knew that they had died doing what they loved, defending their home and protecting their fellow cowboys like real Americans. And in the end, that was all that mattered. It's another good take here. Quite a bit more vague than GPT-3, but equally as impressive of a story. The dialogue, a little bit more casual, adjectives a little bit more dense, allowing you to understand the story quite a bit better from their perspective. But overall, it was a good tale, but I think GPT-3 might be the champion. Let me know what you think. If you have any ideas for anything you'd like to read next, pop them in the comments. Send me some snail mail. Tell your grandma and she'll call me. Until next time, friends. Thanks for listening in and enjoying a beautiful tale with us. Till then, goodbye.